So, first things first, how are you?
Doing fine.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
So, what I want to start with is, do you remember the first album you ever bought?
No, but I remember the first vinyl I bought, actually. Actually, it's kind of funny because yesterday we had a game with my friends, and it's like a game we have to show like tracks that meant something to us in our younger periods. And actually, after I went through one record, it was my first vinyl. It was Warren G.
Sure, yeah.
Like good hip hop, you know. It was Warren G, this DJ, yeah, and Regulate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first vinyl.
So, if we go back to that time, do you remember why this vinyl? Why this?
Why? Because I was mainly into hip hop, and I was just starting to DJ, but like for fun. But the track is quite old, but I mean I really like that record, and I was starting to be interested in scratching, and that's it. And the record is amazing.
Sure. And well, you said that you were into hip hop.
Yes.
You were getting into DJing. So how early was music? Did music play a big role? Was it there from the beginning?
Yes, I think around like 12, 13, because at that time I was really insecure, and when you will see a music video, and the epicenter of the music video at some point was turned to the DJ, you know. He was like the cool guy who was getting the girls and stuff.
Sure.
I was like, maybe I should try this, maybe it will make me feel better or something, you know. But after I just fell in love with it.
And do you remember, because you say it helped with insecurity, was there a moment where you kind of felt confident and thought, okay, this is really...
Well, it took some time, and even like 2 years back, I was still insecure and very stressed before playing. But now I think I get it less and less because I'm confident with my music. And that's how much music means to me, is that it also made me grow up, you know.
And then, well, the Regulators, then one of the tracks. What is another that meant a lot to you along the way?
There was another one. It was a vinyl from Basement Jaxx.
Sure.
It was a huge track for me. It's called Oh My Gosh. I think it was electronic music, but that's another vinyl I also bought in the same time period, you know.
Okay. So too, because on the one hand then hip hop and then on the other dance. Because you say you started DJing, when did you start thinking about own productions and making your own?
That was around 17, 18,
okay.
Because that is logically, you know, the next step if you want to break through as a DJ and producer. So 17, 18, I would say.
And do you remember the first track that you made that you thought, well, this is good, this is...
Yeah, I remember, and I was very proud, and I posted it on Facebook, and I just tagged all of my friends, and looking back at this track, it was awful. It was awful, but I mean, I still made it, and I was very proud, but it's good to be open to critics, you know.
Sure.
And yeah, I even made myself like an artwork. I designed it myself and put a lot of effort into it. Well, the feedbacks were not the one I was expecting, obviously, but people were still encouraging me to keep going.
What is one of the tips people gave you? Something that kind of stuck with you? Well, that's a good tip. Or?
The tips, they were not like tips, because I was just showing it to my friends, and I had a few friends who were like DJs, but they were not producing, and honestly they just told me, listen, like this is shit, but congratulations because you made something, you know. And I was like, okay, I was not upset or anything, because that was the truth. It's just the process that I was happy, you know. Things were like moving, And at first there was no intention of putting it on a label or something. I just wanted to have fun.
Yeah, so at this time, where was the ambition? You said you wanted to have fun, so did you...
At this time, so I was sent by my mom to a boarding school in Switzerland.
Okay.
And like maybe once or twice a month we had like this kind of party, non-alcohol party, obviously. We like get drunk on Pepsi and iced tea. But I was always the guy doing the music.
Okay.
So I was really like into it, more like DJing. And I was just carrying all the gears by myself, setting up all the stuff. And I remember I was like, after my 5th show, like, oh, it's missing something. So I bought my own disco ball and like some fog machines, and I was turning like those rooms into crazy clubs. Yeah, that was a good time, you know.
And what was the reaction of the people? Could you feel the difference? Could you feel kind of that it was growing, what you were doing?
I mean, it was at boarding school, so they were not like caring much.
Okay.
And it's at that time, you know, you're very when you're 16, 17, you're very proud of what you're doing, and you're a bit overconfident. So I was not mature enough to play what people would like. I was like, no, because they wanted like pop and stuff like that, and I was only playing electronic music because it was starting to be trendy, and people didn't know it back then. But I think it's important when you start as a DJ to be a good to control the crowd, you know, and I was not doing this at all. Okay. So, but after, at the end, I learned about all of this. You know, it's the art of DJing. You have to read the crowds, because it's like I have a lot of DJ residents, like friends and stuff, who always complain, like, yeah, but people ask me to play this track, but it's a job, you know, to be a resident DJ, and I've done it as well. And so after and then we're going back on the point where I say music made me grow up, you know. So
you kind of, yeah. And then obviously DJing is one thing, but then producing is a different thing. Yes. So what could you put into DJing that you couldn't put, or could put into producing that you couldn't put into DJing? Well, where did I don't like the word inspiration, but what kind of did you get out of producing your own tracks?
Well, it's two different things. I mean, there is DJ and then there is a producer. But what gets you going? I mean, if you want to combine both of them together, it's obviously that moment when you're gonna play the track you made in a club or in a festival, and you see the crowd's reaction. That's really important. And so then you combine these two together, but I've never made a track because I wanted something out of it. I just went with the flow, but that's how I combine it together. Like after when you DJ, you're like, oh, the track I just made is cool, but it's missing this sound here, and I sing this. So when you play it for the first time, it's more like a test drive.
Okay.
Then you go back to the studio, and then you change stuff that makes sense to you.
So in that sense, is the track never finished?
You know, when you are like a producer who creates a lot, because some of the young producers like Martin and stuff, they end up with maybe 500 different tracks. Okay. They're just tiny tracks, but it's just ideas and stuff. And I went to my library, and I think I have over unfinished tracks. I think I have over like 200. Okay. Yeah.
And well, you mentioned Martin. So working with him, is that something you saw in how he worked, or?
Yeah. I mean, his workflow is crazy. He's really good at as what it is I was doing. And when I step up into his studio, I was really blown away. Okay. Because he works fast and he works very efficiently, you know. And actually, the break for our track, he made it in maybe 2 hours. Okay. But it has an amazing chord progression, and that's what I mean. I knew he was talented from the beginning, but when you're in the studio with him, that's when you start realizing it, that he's like very talented.